Concrete goes the same way. So with concrete, there's some other tools I kind of want to introduce with the idea of concrete. And multiply an image, and then it's going to look tiled. It's going to look like Nintendo. Everybody played the old Nintendo, Super Mario Brothers. All the ground was the same texture map. So to kind of begin to blend that out, there's a couple tools like the healing brush and things of that I can use to change that and kind of bleed that out. So if I take this and open up my concrete, oops, kind of okay, cool. A little behind, but not bad. That's fine. I'm just going to introduce it to my carpal tile. You would actually open this on your own and create one. I have one already opened. In this case, instead of cropping and everything else, I'm just going to make that size smaller because I've already made my canvas big in this case. Now when I tile this, if I zoom in on my concrete, what's going to happen is there's this concrete, every material has a little bit of reflection, whether it be concrete, brick, or anything. Every material has a reflection, so even the concrete's going to end up with a little white dot where the flash of the camera came out. So we have to kind of try and get rid of that if we can. Because it's the stark contrast of an image is in a texture image is what makes that appearance of tile happen, right? Otherwise our eyes can see that pseudo-randomness we were trying to get. So again, if I see this as is.
So why did you make the unfilmed that size?
More so I could, it doesn't matter. In the case of like concrete, so it's trying to get the idea of scale. Right, because if I try and skew, if I zoom in on this, right, if I scale this, and we can do this right now, I could show you what happens. I make it big and tile it because right now it's just a small, tiny image and swatch of concrete. And then I stretch it out, exactly, and then you get this super pixelated image that some of us have learned. So I increase the amount of it to begin getting the scale of the texture correct, and that's something that's really tricky to get down. It's an eye thing. It's really dependent on the viewer that's creating it. There's nothing that says that this concrete swatch should be this because concrete holes are poured, to this level. It's you kind of got to look and say, okay, that looks about right. It's like licking your thumb and checking the air breeze and saying, okay, we're going to fly that way today. So that's why I do it. Does that make sense, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So and again, I don't get it right every time. It's just really kind of getting it so it looks right. So there's no right answer or wrong answer for this part either. It's just getting the scale of it. And you're going to see I probably should do more, but in this case of getting the tutorial taken care of, we're just going to leave it as is there. Once I have a swatch that I'm happy with, again, cropping that out, and then making it a saved JPEG, in this case, today our thing. Now, when I look at it, right, you'll see that I have a repetition happening. I have this one happening, and this one happening, and then I have this one happening, and then I have this one happening, right? So it's repeating that contrasted element is what my eye is beginning to see as the repetitive element that makes it tile, that makes it unbelievable. So what I can do is, what I traditionally do is then use my healing brush. So there is a healing brush here. It's the Band-Aid. So whenever I need to Band-Aid an image, right, then it takes a sample value. So I use my Alt key to sample an area, and then it's going to copy those pixels with my paintbrush and overlay it. So I can begin using my hand to introduce pseudo-randomness, and it'll automatically begin healing those out for me. Right? And I'm literally just kind of randomly pulling. Imagine trying to draw like a tree, right? Whenever everybody's tried to like accurately do a tree, it's really just these little short marks with your fist. So that's it. So that blends that out, right? So it's not as bad of a tiled image, and it becomes more believable. And then in case, another way I can bring this into the document is Control A, Control C, with the layer selected, and then just paste it into. So it'll paste in a new layer. Again, now every piece, since I want this to be edited and changed at some point in time, where'd it go? We lost it. Make sure you keep an eye on it in your layer stack. I want to make sure I make it a grouping, call it concrete ceiling, or just call it ceiling, because it could be any material at this point. So now we're able to bring in different textures of different materials and introduce them into just this like flat. Like I went to bought an 8-pack of markers, and then I markered it, and then I'm done, right? So it's able to give this realism to the drawing. Okay, so we have that, and we're going to bring that up in the stack. There we go. So I've lost some cropping, so there were some things happening that may or may not have got translated. So be aware of that. I am going to distort it, transform, distort. Get that going. Make sure it's like correctly labeled in the stack. So the last part of this is I got to show you guys how to crop images and cut too.